We're going to start with the 49ers just because why not? And I think the biggest question on everybody's minds right now with this team is okay, so you went from the Super Bowl the year before last. Last year, your entire team was injured basically. So
Whole team.
now this team is coming back fully healthy. You got Nick Bosa, he's back. You got new quarterbacks. What's going to happen? Are they going to be back in the Super Bowl? Are they going to be at least a contenders? So we'll
Mhm.
just start with 1 point at a time. So this team is healthy. Nick Bosa is
Yeah.
back. Do you think this team is going to be at least a fraction of what the team was when they were running the Super Bowl 2 years ago?
I'd say so. They haven't lost a lot. Obviously every team's going to lose a few guys here and there, but most of the team is being kept together.
Still
They just got hurt.
intact. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I know their fan base has high expectations for this season. Um, I don't know. I mean, their division's hard. We're going to talk about that today. The division's very hard, and the NFC in general is pretty challenging. But it's all going to come back to honestly, this second point here is like the quarterback. The quarterback play is going to determine how their season goes, I think, because they got to the Super Bowl on the heels of their run game
Yeah.
and their defense. The defense has taken a minor step back, nothing too, but just a little
A
bit,
little bit. Yeah.
and so has the run game a little bit. They still have the offensive line in place, but they don't have all the same guys. They have Mostert still, but they don't have like Tevin Coleman and stuff. But it's all going to come down to, first of all, is Jimmy G even going to start the season, or is it just going to be Trey Lance from jump? And if it is Trey Lance ready for this in his
Yeah.
first season? Is he ready to lead up because this is a rare situation where a team with a top draft pick drafting a quarterback is already a very good team. That doesn't usually happen. Usually you build up with the team slowly.
Right.
Like, for example, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, that's going to be a slow 3, 4, 5 years. Joe Burrow with the Bengals, 3, 4, 5 years.
Exactly.
Trey Lance is just drafted number 3 to a playoff team.
Yeah, it's
So there's a lot
very
of pressure
rare that
there.
you have a playoff team get a draft pick early because of
Yeah.
just injuries. I just
Like, he's going to.
based on what you were saying about the quarterbacks, like I can't help but think about what Kyle Shanahan said before the draft. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what we do in the draft, whether we pick a quarterback, Jimmy G is our guy. And I can't help to think about that statement that he made. Is that bullshit or is that real? Are they really going to stick with Jimmy G? Is that really their quarterback? Why get Trey Lance
If
at all?
he's if he's capping, they better trade Jimmy G, bro. They are not going to have his $20 million a year contract sitting on the bench, bro.
Yeah, for real. I don't understand why. I mean, I'm not going to try to get inside a head coach's mind or anything like that, but just like why even make that statement? Maybe you just did that to throw a little smoke to the media, like, hey, we're not going to pick a quarterback. Jimmy G's our guy, and then there you go, Trey Lance is there. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Now, the next question I have about this team is okay. So you just paid was it Fred Warner? You just paid Fred Warner. Now he is now the highest paid linebacker in
Yeah.
football, and you just recently paid Trent Williams. He's now the highest paid left tackle in football. So
Yeah.
now you have two of the highest paid players at their positions. Is this gonna affect the team at all? Is that a pro or a con? Like, is money now going to be tight going forward? Is this a make it or break it season? Is this a we got to make it or
Yeah.
bust type of season? Because now you have these players that are overpaid or whatever, they got paychecks. I'm not going to say whether they're overpaid or whatever, but is this a make it or break it season for them?
Yeah, I mean, the contracts definitely they kick in, man. It's usually the quarterback though that hurts the most.
Exactly.
But yeah, the contracts. You see, anytime these big contracts start getting shelled out, you look at the Seahawks is a good example. A lot of good players had to start paying them, couldn't, and now look at them. So it's you have a tight window when you have a lot of players on your team that are the best of their position or one of, you know, it's very hard to keep everybody because don't forget about George Kittle, so they got
Yeah.
a handful of guys on this team that are arguably the best in the NFL at their spot. So it's hard, but right now they can afford it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's make it or break it this season, but the window is not 10 years. Like you gotta
Right.
get it done.
Because eventually you're going to run out of cap and you're not going to be able to keep these guys. And you're going to have to make some difficult decisions later down the road whether we want to keep these guys or we're going to have to get rid of others just to keep being able to afford them still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that said, I mean, is this team still the same as it was 2 years ago? Like, do you think they need to adapt to a new identity? Like, are they still run heavy? Is my question. Like, this team was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. They were very defense and run heavy. So like, okay,
Yeah.
you had Raheem Mostert that ran all over the Packers at one time, and now it's just and then you had Breida and you had you just said his name, Tevin Coleman. They're not
Hmm.
no longer part of the team. Now you have Raheem Mostert and then you have Trey Sermon, who who was really good in Ohio. I'm not going to sit here and shit on him too much. He was really good. Then you got Jeff Wilson Jr., who was good, and then Wayne Gallman. But I mean, I want to say it's this team is going to be shifting to where they're going to use Raheem Mostert. It's not going to be really a committee anymore. It's going to be more Mostert and like a little bit of the other guys. And then you get
Yeah,
rid of
most
some of your wide
likely.
receivers. You just gave one of them to the Patriots, and now so your main two wide receivers are going to be Debo and Brandon Ayuk. So
Hmm.
is the identity of this team going to change all that much, or is it going to stay the same? Especially with
It
Lance.
depends. Well, even with Lance, I think they'd have to take it easy with the passing, and they'd probably still run a lot just to get him accustomed to the NFL and everything. Um, but yeah, it'll still be a run focused team. I think San Francisco is just always a run focused team, honestly, since
Yeah.
I've been watching.
Even with Kaepernick,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, Kaepernick, Alex Smith, etc. So um, I would expect it to stay the same, at least for this season. See what they have with Trey Lance if he becomes the starter, and then go from there. But I would anticipate a lot of running this season, and Raheem Mostert might be a good fantasy pick in the later round.
That's what I'm thinking. Now that it's not so much a committee anymore, I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
way more Mostert. Now, now that we talk, let's just shift over to the defense here now. So, we've the biggest missing piece that we all want to talk about right now is Richard Sherman. He's
Hmm.
now getting arrested. There's a lot of drama going on around him, like something about him trying to beat down a door, and then he got arrested. He's trying to commit suicide. All kinds of mess right now.
Yeah.
Is that him not being a part of that defense? Is that going to be a big step back or not? I mean, yeah, I know he's getting
I don't know.
older, and I know he's not what he was when he was a part of Legion of Boom. I get it, but I mean, now your cornerbacks are going to be Jason Verrett and Manuel Mosley.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then Samson Abukum. So it's just like, okay, is that going to hurt by losing Richard Sherman? I don't know. What do you think?
I think you missed the leadership and the swag a little bit, probably. Uh, Talent on the field wise, maybe not so much, but the you can't underestimate the locker room presence that you're not going to have anymore.
Yeah.
So especially because on the defense, I mean, obviously, Fred Warner is probably a perfectly fine leader also,
Someone's going to have
but
to step up. Exactly.
yeah, but Sherman was 100% the leader of the defense, like no question. So he was going to be gone anyways, probably. I don't think there was ever an interest in going back to the 49ers, but
Yeah. It's true.
it's kind of sad. I mean, he might be done now. All of a sudden, it was like, oh, he might sign with Seattle again, or New Orleans is interested, and this team and that team,
Seahawks, maybe. Yeah.
and then I mean,
It's just taking a crazy
I
turn
feel
here.
bad. Yeah, it's like, you know, I guess that maybe I don't want to speak for him, but kind of the minimal interest in him in the off season, kind of realizing that
Kind of like a wake up call,
it's
maybe.
it's getting to the end for him, and I guess it just fucked with his head. That might not be it at all, but I'm sure it had something to do with it. He might have some personal things going on too, but the fact that he's still unsigned in July, You
Yeah.
know, when he thought he was gonna kind of after the draft, he thought he was kind of going to be ready to go, and he's still a free agent now. It's kind of
Yeah.
if you're going through something in your personal life, that definitely wouldn't help. So
Exactly. Like,
I
yeah.
imagine it would have something to do with it, but
I think
just
you're onto
feel bad,
something there.
man. Mental health is
Yeah.
especially with NFL players, you see it the most. I think in all sports is like these guys just
They don't know what to do themselves sometimes. Like,
they just
whether it's
don't.
guns or drugs or
Yeah,
it's always something. I think these guys
like
need
they
some
just
mental,
need
yeah, something.
they need football so bad. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these guys needed football just to get out of shitty, like to get their family out of shitty life situations. And so like when it's done,
They don't know what to do with
all
themselves.
they've cared about is all they've cared about is football forever. That's it. And now it's like I literally am not good enough to play anymore. I don't know what to do. Like I just don't want to be here now. If I can't play football, I don't want to be here. So I feel bad. Hopefully they get some help. He
Yeah.
did say on Instagram that he was going to get some help, so that's good. But yeah, it's sad, dude. I've always been a huge fan of Richard Sherman, so that just was of all the players, in the league right now, that was one of the more sad ones for me to see go through that. But hopefully he gets better.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I mean, he seems pretty strong. I mean, he's been pretty smart about it. I mean, like he's been one of the main guys that's part of like I know the Players Association when like they were voting on
Yeah.
like the games per year or season. Like he was one of the biggest advocates to say he's just one of the guys that would speak out on things and just be a leader. And he's very smart. So I do have faith that he'll bounce back from this for sure.